define how 2027 will shape up.
Prof, politics is about personalities and not issues. That is a sad statement, whichever way you want to look at it. But that's pretty much what Kenya has.
Politics,
you know, that's Kenyan politics. But I'm looking at a point where, as much as that is where we find ourselves, that's not where we should be.
Correct.
One would hope that things would change and would change for the better.
Right.
And it behooves, again, I take it back to mwananchi, to know what they want and to ask the difficult questions. Because most of the time when you look at our politics, it is the political class that would come with their issue and their agenda. Mwananchi would never come forward and counter that and say, this is our issue, this is our agenda, and we want you to implement it in XYZ manner. Should we get there? How soon? And how do we get there, Prof? How do we get there?
Actually, you can look at this from two perspectives. Of course, we have our neighbors, Tanzania, who have just done something that's very interesting. And you know, you can look at it this way: that you know, we are in trouble. There's nothing much we're doing. We're not progressing, and so on. On the other hand, you can look at it that yes, I mean, there's some fundamentals in place, but we sort of have the wrong people. You see. I think if I like using corporates. You know, this could be a corporate that is, you know, the fundamentals are okay. That is profitable. They've got systems in place and so on. But otherwise, they've got some pumpkin head as the new CEO and basically a useless board that tries to bring it down. You know, those structures can actually keep the corporate for quite some time. And you can remove these guys and just bring the right people and you roll. So the way, from an optimistic point of view, I would love it that, you know, Kenya has a very progressive constitution. We do have that, really, compared to quite a number of countries outside there, that prescribes exactly how everybody, including that mwananchi, should behave as far as politics is concerned, and gives them roles and gives them responsibilities and gives them powers and so on, and spaces to exercise those, from referendum all the way to the president, you know, running the country, to governors and so on. So quite a bit of this has been structured very well in Kenya. But just as Rungu was saying, you see, what we did was that we created a totally new and brilliant and beautiful organization structure in terms of how Kenya runs. This is what I would call the normative aspect of Kenya. If you read that, you'd wonder why Kenya is not first world. You know, because everything is specified in black and white and in detail. What a PS does, what a CS does, you know, how the countries run, what the different arms of government do, and so on. So we have that, and that's something that we need to be proud of. And what we're doing here and everywhere is because of that tension, that the country is being run totally differently from the script that is meant to be used for running the country. And that script, we gifted it to ourselves in 2010. But again, I think Zokechi was talking about this thing. The politicians have been the same over this time. So basically, it's a situation where an organization has changed drastically in terms of how it's to be managed, but it's the same characters who are there that continue being there. And they don't want to change how they're doing things. So that is the tension we have in the country, and that's the negative aspect that we have in the country. And that's why we're even here making these noises. We're not making these noises because we don't have a proper blueprint. We do have. We have constitution, we have legislation, we have separation of power, we have prescription in terms of how everybody, including our mayor here, should behave, from the president and so on. However, the mwananchi and those in power, those governing, and the politicians are not following this script, despite the fact that you know, they're the ones who even say that, you know, we actually needed to change. And this is one thing that we need to address, and it will always be a tension. It's not something that will happen overnight. At the core of it, talking for mwananchi, what Citizen is doing here is very important. You know, because this is where we start thrashing out these things, to say the country was meant to head this direction from a normative point of view, but the country is headed a totally different direction. Is that right? Is that wrong? Can we live with that? And so on. You know, we are not meant to have corruption. We were talking the other day on what the president was meant to report on the State of the Nation address. It's spelled out in the Constitution. spelled out details, Article 132, and is meant to report on Article 10 issues, which is actually about the national values and so on. But the reason why we are able to interrogate those things is because we have that constitution in the first instance. If we didn't have those things, then there'd be a problem. But now, having said that, you see, for me, as a pragmatist, I'll look at it the two ways. Either you have a good set of politicians and good set of mwananchi, and those we don't have and we're not likely to have soon.
Yeah.
Or you have a good set of noisemakers who can always point out that these guys are doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You see, the beauty with that is that the fellows might correct themselves a little bit. Maybe not at all. And my advice to Kenyans, and I started using this analogy when I was a student leader at the University of Nairobi. And one of the things I used to tell people is that, you know, an elephant steps on your feet, on your toes. You have two positions. You can come in and say, no, my friends, the elephant is so big, so I did nothing, despite the fact that the elephant was crushing my feet. So the following day when you're limping, and you're telling people that the elephant actually stepped on my toes, people will say you are a joke. An elephant is so big. How could he step on your toes and nobody knew? But the truth of the matter is that the elephant did actually step on your toes, and you are actually messed up. The other side is you make a lot of noises and scream, despite the fact that the elephant is very big.
Yes.
You make a lot of noises, say this stupid animal is destroying me, and you scream, and whatever. You know, the villagers might come and even scare the elephant away. The following day when you're walking, limping around the village, they'll say, that is the man on whose feet the elephant stepped. So what I advise Kenyans is that don't keep quiet. The elephant is big, we know. The root of government and misgovernment is huge. We know the behavior of politicians and political parties is terrible. Don't keep quiet, because if you keep quiet, we will eventually not be, in fact, we will eventually be having a suluhu in Tanzania. Make as much noises as you can, because that way the elephant might be scared, you know, to go away, or might change his habits on stepping on humans' feet.
Okay, let's make noise as much as we want. The elephant is big, eh? But you see, when you talk about making noise, Kenyans did that. So you go back to 2024, anti-finance bill protest. You know, come to 2025, we saw a repeat of the same. And Kenyans have been speaking. They're speaking in terms of we want change, we want proper governance, we want respect to the law, and we want constitutionalism to be part and parcel of our daily lives, right? But as we speak about, let's just talk about the by-elections today. Are we likely to see this movement that Kenyans have shown be replicated on the ballot?
Now, that one I'll emphatically say no. Now, let's come to this.
Be positive.
We just have, we don't need to canvass the truth.
Yeah.
We have just to speak the truth as it is. Now, the political spectrum, we've said it is persona-based. But what influences that? Ethnicity. That is how our politics are. Coming back to your question, in 2022, who are on the streets? It was a new breed of the Kenyan citizens. We branded them the Gen Z. They were not only Gen Z, we also had people that have been crying all along, the noisemakers that Prof is speaking about. They were the ones that were on the streets in their numbers. But again, question is, why don't we see any shift? Politicians are very smart. They look at the numbers and they know where the numbers are aligning to right now. Looking at the voter the voter landscape in the country right now, it's not shifted. By 5 days ago, we only had 41,000 registered voters, new registered voters. The percentage, 65%, are above the age of 45. The ones that were making noise, they are partly 23%. So I am a politician. I look at this. I'll ask myself a question. Has the landscape changed? No. The people that were making noise, ideally, they have not registered as voters. They are the ones that are calling for this change, the people-centric politics, the clean politics, the healthy politics, but they are not sure, they are not there, they have not been registered.
Just hold it there. I want us to go to Malava, where a candidate for UDA has just voted, and let's listen into what they have to say, how the exercise has been, what his experience is. Let's listen to the candidate from Malava.
By getting humility first as a character, because I don't have to let the people bleed for me to lead. That is why I've restrained myself. I've been provoked a lot, But for me, I've been for peace all through. During my campaign, I've not even mentioned my competitor at any given time by name. I've not even tried to get into their territories with a lot of energy, because at the end of it, I have to respect them and I respect also the way they are conducting themselves. But for me, I'm telling the people of Malava, let them exercise their democratic right, let them make their choice, and let them not be intimidated by anybody, let them not be coerced in any way. The blackmail that is going around from my opponents, those are sideshows. And I want to state categorical that if there is anything, I've been the peaceful candidate in this election. The government has tried to assure me of security and also to give peace to my people, but a lot of provocation has come from my opponents. So mine is to urge people to get out, that the only statement they can send is to elect a leader to their choice. And here I am. I'm confident I'm going to win this. That is why I'm calm, and I'm pushing it to the end. The result will have to give a statement to the opponent that they are not. Leadership is not about. Leadership is not about the character they have been trying to show every other time. And you cannot impose yourself to the people, because at the end of it, it is what the people look at you as a character. It is what the manifestos you have. It is what the agenda that you sell to the people that will propel you to the leadership. And here I am. I'm urging my people, stay calm. This election we are winning. Whichever way we are provoked, let us keep peace. Because at the end of it, we are a family, and we need Malava to move forward when we are together.
Maybe your opponents are killing the government machinery, and they are saying they are doing so to aid you possibly get the seat. And secondly, from your experience, as an MCA who served 2 terms, during 2022, those who voted were slightly above the mark. This is a by-election. From your projection, what do you think will be the numbers at the end of the day, given the prevailing circumstances and the atmosphere generally?
Personally, this is not my first time of engaging myself in an election. And I know the rules of the game. And as up to now, I'm saying I've not even gotten a security threat.
That is the UDA candidate in Malava, David Ndakwa, as he speaks immediately after casting his vote as the exercise continues. Now, we have been having a discussion here on the by-election together with my guests. That is Professor Amenya, I beg your pardon, but together with